Every spin, every bet, every single decision you make on a Las Vegas casino floor is tracked and monetized in real time. This technology was supposed to enhance the customer experience. But what if its true purpose was to calculate the absolute maximum pain point for every single player and keep them locked just below it? In this video, we investigate how data analytics, remote manipulated slot odds, and the replacement of human dealers with machines have created a casino environment that is less about luck and more about predictive financial extraction. Are gamblers avoiding the strip because they are losing, or because they finally feel like the entire system is playing them? The Las Vegas of yesteryear presented a very different gambling experience than what we see today. Before the digital revolution transformed the casino floor, there existed what many veteran gamblers now nostalgically call the golden age of Las Vegas gambling, an era where the experience felt organic, tangible, and somehow more honest, even though the house always had an edge. Walking onto a casino floor in the 1980s or early 1990s meant encountering rows of mechanical slot machines with physical spinning reels that clicked and clacked with each pull of the lever. These machines were not silent electronic screens. They were mechanical marvels that produced distinctive sounds and rhythms. When you hit a jackpot, real coins would cascade into metal trays with a satisfying clang that would turn heads across the floor. The experience was visceral and immediate. Table games operated with an unspoken social contract. Dealers shuffled cards by hand, making eye contact with players and engaging in banter that created a human connection. Pit bosses roamed the floor, observing players and making judgment calls about who deserved complimentary drinks, meals, or even rooms based on their play. These comps were not mathematically calculated to the penny. They were part of a culture that rewarded loyalty and play with hospitality. The house always had an advantage, of course. That's how casinos stay in business. But critically, the system felt beatable, at least momentarily. Card counters could gain an edge at blackjack tables. Skilled poker players could consistently profit from less skilled opponents. Even craps players believed their hot hands could overcome the odds, at least for a night. This tangible magic of old Vegas was built on sensory feedback, not hidden algorithms. The sound of dice tumbling across felt, the shuffling of cards, the weight of chips in your hand. These physical experiences created an authentic gambling environment where luck felt real, not programmed. The games operated on fixed odds that were not being adjusted behind the scenes. If you understood the mathematics, you knew exactly what you were up against. Casinos were designed around human psychology, certainly, but the manipulation was transparent enough to feel fair. Players accepted the trade-off. The house had an edge, but in exchange, you received an entertaining experience with a legitimate chance to win. The relationship between casino and player was adversarial, but respectful. Like worthy opponents in a game both sides understood. This analog era represents what many see as the last time Las Vegas gambling felt genuinely fair, when technology had not yet turned the tables so dramatically in favor of the house that the fundamental nature of the experience changed. It was a time when gambling still felt like a contest against fixed odds, rather than a battle against an invisible, adaptive system designed to maximize extraction from each individual player. The transition from analog to digital casino floors did not happen overnight. It was a calculated, incremental process that began innocuously enough, but ultimately transformed the fundamental relationship between casinos and their patrons. Each technological innovation was marketed as an enhancement to the player experience, but collectively, they shifted power dramatically toward the house. The revolution began with a simple piece of plastic, the player's club card. Introduced as a rewards program to thank loyal customers, these cards were the casino industry's first major foray into mass data collection. Players willingly handed over their personal information and gambling habits in exchange for the promise of comps and special offers. What most gamblers did not realize was that these cards were transforming them from anonymous players into data points. Every insertion of a card into a machine or presentation at a table began building a comprehensive profile. How much you bet, how long you play, what games you prefer, when you typically visit, and most importantly, how much you are willing to lose before walking away. The evidence of this shift became apparent in how comps were distributed. The subjective judgment of pit bosses who might reward an entertaining high roller despite modest losses was replaced by rigid formulas. Players began noticing that comps were becoming increasingly stingy and mathematically precise. The $20 buffet that once required an hour of moderate play now demanded several hours and significantly higher bets. The system could calculate to the penny exactly how much free food your expected losses would cover. Industry insiders confirm this change was not accidental. A former casino marketing executive who spoke on condition of anonymity said they moved from relationship-based comping to algorithm-based comping. The old system left money on the table. The new system ensures we never give away a dollar more than necessary to keep a player gambling. The next major technological shift came with ticket-in, ticket-out technology, called TITO. TITO eliminated the physical coins that had defined slot play for decades, replacing them with printed vouchers. It was marketed as a convenience, no more heavy buckets of coins, but it fundamentally altered the psychology of gambling. Without physical coins, players lost a tangible connection to their money. Psychologists call this payment decoupling. The further removed people are from physical currency, the more freely they spend. Casino executives understood this principle perfectly. Server-based gaming took this a step further by centralizing control of slot machines. Unlike the old mechanical slots with fixed odds built into their physical components, these new machines could be adjusted remotely from a central server. This gave casinos unprecedented control over the hold percentage, the portion of money wagered that the house keeps over time. The evidence of this manipulation appears in Nevada Gaming Control Board statistics, which show a steady increase in slot hold percentages over the past 2 decades. In 2000, the average slot machine on the Las Vegas Strip kept about 5% of all money wagered. By 2022, that figure had climbed to over 8% in many casinos. This might seem like a small increase, but it represents billions in additional revenue extracted from players' pockets. Gaming analyst David Schwartz said that the hold percentage increase is undeniable. Casinos defend it by saying they are offering more entertainment value, but the reality is that players are simply getting less time on device for the same money. Perhaps the most visible transformation has been the proliferation of electronic table games and automated dealing systems. Traditional table games with human dealers have been steadily replaced by digital versions that promise the same experience, but deliver something fundamentally different. Electronic blackjack, roulette, and craps eliminate the human element that once defined these games. Continuous shuffling machines in blackjack make card counting impossible by returning discarded cards to random positions in the shoe after each hand. That change negates the small advantage that skilled players could gain through memory and mathematics. The evidence of player disadvantage is built into these systems. Electronic roulette often spins faster than a human dealer would allow, increasing the number of bets per hour and, consequently, the house expected profit. Digital craps removes the possibility of dice setting, a technique some players believe can influence outcomes. Electronic poker tables take more rake per hand while eliminating dealer tips. Industry data shows these automated systems can process 30% more hands per hour than human dealers, while reducing labor costs by up to 80%. For casinos, this represents a clear business win. For players, it means faster losses and a sterile experience. Public sentiment confirms growing dissatisfaction. On gambling forums and social media threads, longtime players express frustration with the new environment. One TripAdvisor review from a 20-year Vegas veteran states the electronic tables are just glorified slot machines with worse odds. There is no soul left in these games. Another player on a popular gambling forum wrote that when they replaced most of the 9-6 video poker machines with 8-5 pay tables, they knew the old Vegas was dead. While these changes were visible on the casino floor, an even more significant transformation was happening behind the scenes. Casinos invested heavily in data analytics platforms that could process the vast amounts of information collected through player cards and electronic games. These systems do not just track past behavior, they predict future behavior. They identify patterns that indicate when a player is likely to quit, how much they can lose before walking away, and what incentives might keep them playing longer. This information is used to create personalized experiences designed not for player enjoyment, but for maximum revenue extraction. A gaming technology executive who requested anonymity explained that the systems today can tell you with remarkable accuracy how much a specific player is worth over their lifetime. Every decision, from what games to put on the floor to what comps to offer, is driven by this lifetime value calculation. The evidence of this data revolution appears in casino financial reports, which show increasing revenue despite declining visitation numbers in some markets. Casinos are making more money from fewer players by optimizing each individual's experience for maximum profit. The culmination of these technological advancements represents what many industry critics consider the true betrayal of the gambling public: the implementation of algorithmic targeting and dynamic game adjustment designed to maximize revenue from each individual player. Modern casino systems do not just passively collect data, they actively use it to manipulate the gambling experience in real time. The collected information is not just for marketing, it is for prediction and behavioral manipulation. Today's slot machines can be programmed to adjust game volatility and near-miss frequency based on individual player profiles. If the system determines a player responds well to near misses, it can increase their frequency. If data shows a player tends to quit after a certain loss threshold, the system might trigger a small win just before that point is reached, not enough to recover losses, but enough to keep hope alive and the player engaged. The most damning evidence comes from patent filings by major gaming technology companies. One patent describes a system that adjusts parameters of a game of chance based on player tracking data to enhance player engagement. Another patent details technology that can modify game characteristics based on player history and real-time behavior. These patents are not just theoretical, they are being implemented on casino floors right now. The technology exists to create what one industry insider described as personalized extraction algorithms, designed to keep each player in their individual sweet spot of losses. Not so much that they quit gambling altogether, but maximize to the highest point they can tolerate. This technological sophistication has created a fundamental shift in the gambling relationship. In the past, players faced fixed odds. The house had an advantage, but the rules were transparent and unchanging. A skilled player could make informed decisions based on known probabilities. Today's gambler is not just playing against the house edge, they are playing against a dynamic learning system designed to find their personal breaking point. The game adjusts to the player, rather than the player adjusting to the game. This creates an environment where skill and strategy become increasingly irrelevant against an opponent that can change the rules based on your behavior. Former gaming regulator Alan Feldman explains the significance. He says the psychological contract between casino and player was based on a shared understanding of fixed odds and chance. When that contract is broken, when players realize the system is actively working to manipulate their behavior beyond traditional house advantages, it violates a fundamental trust. The smoking gun is not just that casinos use technology to increase profits. That is expected. It is that they have created a system that fundamentally changes the nature of gambling itself, turning it from a contest against known odds into an unwinnable battle against an adaptive system that knows more about your behavior than you do. The technological transformation of Las Vegas casinos represents a complete inversion of the traditional gambling contract. What began as innovations ostensibly designed to enhance the player experience has culminated in a system optimized for financial extraction at the expense of that very experience. The truth is unavoidable. The modern strip casino floor is no longer primarily a venue for games of chance. It has evolved into a highly controlled environment of predictive financial extraction, where technology serves the house at every turn. The dying thrill that many veteran gamblers describe is not imagination or nostalgia. It is the result of a deliberate, data-driven strategy that has fundamentally altered the gambling proposition. This technological betrayal explains a phenomenon that has puzzled industry observers. Despite record-breaking profits for casino corporations, Las Vegas is experiencing a significant shift in its visitor demographics. Traditional gamblers are increasingly taking their business elsewhere. The exodus is evident in the success of off-strip and local casinos that still offer better odds, more liberal comp policies, and more traditional gambling experiences. It is visible in the booming popularity of online gambling platforms that, while entirely digital, often provide more transparent odds and more generous bonus structures than their brick-and-mortar counterparts. This is not a rejection of gambling itself. It is a search for a fairer, more transparent experience. Players are not quitting the activity. They are abandoning venues that have used technology to stack the deck too dramatically in favor of the house. Gaming analyst Anthony Curtis summarizes the situation. Smart players have always known the house has an edge. What is different now is that the edge feels exploitative rather than fair. When you combine worse odds with reduced comps and a sterile atmosphere, you create an environment that many traditional gamblers no longer find worthwhile. The casino industry faces a reckoning. In their pursuit of technological efficiency and data-driven profit maximization, they have overlooked the intangible elements that made gambling compelling in the first place. Those include the thrill of chance, the social experience, and the sense that while the odds favored the house, players still had a fighting chance. He says they used technology to break the unspoken promise of a fair game, turning the casino floor into a calculated machine for profit. You have a right to feel betrayed. The question is, have they gone too far? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. Have you stopped gambling on the Strip for these exact reasons? Subscribe and like this video to support more investigations into the truth behind Las Vegas.